Good morning, everyone. This is Sunday, February 26th, and the chicks have now been here for 2 weeks. I didn't take a video of them at just 1 week. I've been down with kind of a nasty cold, so I held off. We've now moved them to our garage. As you can see, they're quite a bit more active now, and they need a lot more space so that they can roam around and do chicken things. I've also changed the setup a little bit. Besides just increasing it in size, we've got a couple new waterers here, so you can't really see, but this Home Depot bucket has some little gravity fed valves on the bottom that the chickens can drink out of. And then I really like this waterer behind me. It's set up so that it's got these little cups on the outside and then these little yellow valves that the chickens are supposed to peck at, and that fills them with water. I like it. The only problem is with them being so little, they really can't refill the cups on their own. It's a waterer that's built kind of for adult-sized chickens, and they really can't operate it yet, so I have to keep going in there and manually refilling the cups for them. And that's why it's not their only water source, because they really can't work it yet and need to make sure they're getting water. I've also got a little separate cup of water down there. That's that little red dish, just in case something happens where either they can't figure out how to use the valves on the big bucket, or if they run out of water in the cups, they've still got some available. Their hanging feeder is now off of the ground. I have it hanging on these little staves that I had lying around from last year's garden. And that's so that they don't get bedding and poop into it all the time. As they get older, you want to keep raising all the waterers, raising the feeders, that they don't foul them up as much. And then this other little bowl here's got some chick grit for them. They don't really need it because they're only eating chick starter right now. But as you can see, this little guy is here pecking at the cardboard, and they do that all the time, and they peck at the bedding, and just in case they ingest some of that, they're going to need that grit to help them break it down and pass through their system. But chicks don't technically need grit. They don't need it until they start getting a little larger and eating things other than chick starter. So here's our setup. We actually went out and got a bunch of pallets that were just lying around the farm that these guys are eventually going to. We just nailed them together and put some cinder blocks on there. And as you can see, they're not really utilizing very much of the space right now. That's because they're small, they're young. They need to be confined close to their food and water source because they're just not all that good at living yet. Once they get a little older and more capable of keeping themselves warm and finding food and water, and as their space requirements increase, we'll be able to move this. I just have a little doggy gate right now that's keeping them in there. It's left over from our new puppy who doesn't really need it anymore. And as you can see, the heat lamp is quite a bit higher off the ground than it was 2 weeks ago. If you watched my last video, you might remember me saying that chicks' temperature requirements decrease for every week that they age. And that's because if you look at these guys, you'll see that they're starting to feather out. And as they get their feathers in, they retain warmth quite a bit more. So you need to slowly decrease the amount of heat they're getting, or they won't feather out. And then when you go to move them outside, they won't be properly hardened off, as we call it, and your chicks will die because they have not developed any means to keep themselves warm. You don't see this being a problem as much with breeds like these. These are all what we call, for the most part, heritage breeds, meaning like old-timey breeds that have been used by farmers for generations. With the exception of my Americanas, those are the very fuzzy-looking brown ones. Those are pretty new breed, but these are all breeds intended for use for personal farming, micro farming, things like that. You don't see big chicken production farmers using these breeds. And as a result, they're a little bit better at taking care of themselves. If you get something like Cornish crosses or one of the other hybrid breeds, they're meant for usually one thing, either to produce meat or produce eggs. And they have to be kept in pretty specific conditions because they're just not really meant for living on their own. These guys are a little hardier because they're a little bit closer to what a wild chicken would resemble. Yeah, so that's the chicks this week. That's the setup we've got going. And as they continue to grow, we'll post some more videos.